Hello. Hello. That was a little more intense of an intro than I meant. Welcome Renegades, my friends, to Mini Monday, right? It's Monday and we're going to paint some miniatures. Um I haven't been here for a little while. I missed my last stream and then Roguescaper went. So it's been a minute since I've been on stream, and I'm really happy to be here, and I'm happy to have some new minis from the latest Heroscape wave. So today we are painting. I don't know if it's Imperator or Imperator, so we're gonna go with Imperator. Or you know what? We'll just call him Kayne. So we're painting Kayne today. Here is the mini. We'll talk about him in a minute. Let's take a quick look at his card. Sorry, there's a lot of reflection. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I didn't even check my microphone. Okay, it says that I'm talking. So hopefully everybody can hear me. Sorry for the reflection there. But here is the character that we are looking at here. Open debate, I guess, on what kind of critter Kayne is. Kind of looks like a squirrel, but maybe it's not a squirrel. I don't think it's a squirrel. I don't know. We'll have to have a debate. I don't think he's a squirrel, personally. Because the other guy's a squirrel. What's his name? Tuck. Tuck is a squirrel, right? And Tuck looks real different. Chipmunk, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, he's in the super cool stomper. Let's talk about the mini here. So, as always, I do this with every miniature that I paint. I give it a nice, good soap and water bath, if you will. Use an old toothbrush or something like that. Scrub any residue off of it is a personal thing that I do. I recommend it, not necessary. However, minis like this, usually you don't necessarily need it. It's kind of a habit from my days of painting resin and stuff like that. You like to clean that stuff off so that you can remove any releasing agent that might be on the plastic left from the factory. It just does a better job of holding onto the paint. I then did a black primer, and then as you can see, I have already painted the machine that Kayne is riding on here, as well as the minigun on there. And the reason that I did that is because I want to show some weathering techniques that we're going to try and do on the metal to make it look a little rusty, a little worn down. And so for the interest of time, I went ahead and painted those things silver. I used a lead belcher from Citadel. You can use any silver paint that you like. If you wanted to paint it silver, you could paint it a different color if you wanted to. Again, I've chosen to paint silver. And then I did a Nuln Oil wash over top of it. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, probably should have grabbed it. Here is Nuln Oil. It is a shade or a wash that you put over top of the miniature. So silver on there, and then a nice helping coat of this over top of it. And that is the status of where we're at right now. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start painting Kayne himself. I wanted to show off, I get this question a lot at my locals. Shout out to the New England Heroscape group, by the way. Everyone is just phenomenal. I mean, we're getting 20 to 30 players every time that we play. There's 3, I think, 3 different venues across New England that people are traveling around to. There may be more than 3. There's 3 big ones, I guess, that are popping in my head right now. But anyway, one of the biggest questions that I get asked at locals is, what paints do you use? What what's the difference, I guess, between, you know, all these different paint brands that are on the shelf. You know, and I always tell everybody that, you know, it kind of comes down to personal preference. A lot of the mainstream paints that you find at your local game store are going to be, you know, pretty good for what you want it to be. You know what I mean? So really, honestly, it ends up coming down. Sorry, I'm going to turn this music down a little bit. What it ends up coming down to is personal preference. So I recommend that you grab a couple maybe of each paint brand and see which one works for you. So for the interest of what we're doing today, I went ahead and grabbed 3 different brands of paint. So he's got what I think anyway, when I see the mini, is it looks to me like he's got a tunic on underneath here. And then he's got this undershirt as well as some leather gloves. And then there's his head here, and then his tail back here. So my paint plan here is I'm going to paint the fur in this leather brown color from Army Painter. This is one of the war paint fanatics, but this is just, you most likely will be able to find this in almost every game store. Most, if not, I mean, I would say a good chunk of them will have Army Painters. It's one of the more common paints. So that's what we're going to use for the fur. And I think we'll start with that. So let's stop yapping and start painting. Top right corner up there is my paint palette, so you can kind of see what I'm doing. There's a weird reflection. I don't know which colors you can actually see as what. So let's talk about each paint as we use it. For me, Army Painter tends to be a little on the thicker side. So I try and make sure that I water it down pretty well. Also, my palette that I normally use is kind of got ruined. So I'm trying out this other palette, and I don't really like it very much, and it's been a struggle. I tried to, I knew that, you know, I had streamed tonight, and I had been painted, and no, I have not painted in a little while. So I had a bunch of projects sitting on the table. So when I sat down to start setting up for the stream, I was like, man, I gotta try and clear out some of these projects. So I finished Decker today. I also finished some of the rest of my bugs, the little bugs. Finished all those. I'll be posting the photos up on social media and Discord. Honestly, I meant to do it earlier, and I just hadn't gotten around to it. I took all the photos and everything. I have a little light box. I've been really enjoying taking photos with the light box. Roguescaper said, I'm jealous of the scout trooper in the background. Oh, thanks. I used to fit in that. I used to be able to put it on. I'm getting there again. Working out and stuff. But yeah, I built that to wear it. And once upon a time I could. And then I stopped kind of doing that hobby of, you know, like that cosplay hobby for a little while. And then yeah, long story short, hurt my knee. You know, got out of shape and just yeah, couldn't wear it anymore. So I put before I stopped wearing it, I made a mannequin. the shape of my body. So it's called a duct tape mannequin. So I got in some old clothes, like some sweats, and put on a good movie. And my wife, God bless her soul, wrapped me from head to toe in duct tape, and then cut a slit in the side of the duct tape. That's why you wear the old clothes, because you'll most likely cut through the clothes. And then you shimmy your way out of the cut, and then you duct tape the cut back together, and then stuff the duct tape with, whatever filler you want. I think that one has like packing paper crinkled up and stuffed inside there. And then you have a mannequin that's literally fit exactly to your body. So you can make a cosplay to your body and have a mannequin that is fit just for you, which is pretty cool. I actually had two, because I also had a Jedi cosplay that I made. But when we moved, one of the two of the duct tape mannequins kind of got ruined beyond repair, so it got thrown away. And then that cosplay kind of doesn't really fully exist anymore. It's been kind of taken apart and repurposed, if you will. Tony said that it reminds you of Rocket Raccoon. Yeah, it kind of does to me too, to be honest. Yeah, it kind of does for me too. Also has kind of like an otter type face. I don't know. Not a beaver though. And definitely not a platypus. Decker's platypus. I painted my Decker to look like Perry the Platypus from Phineas and Ferb. We're big Phineas and Ferb fans up in this house. Alright, so we got the fur done there. So that was Army Painter. I didn't have to water it down too much. It's a little thicker than I wanted. Again, this palette is going to be a problem. So I'm not really too sure. Like, it's making the paint gritty for some reason. I don't really know what's happening, to be honest. Okay, I think I'm going to paint the... let's go tunic. Let's go into our Citadel. So we're going to use Mornfang Brown from Citadel. This is probably the second most popular. These two are the ones you're going to find in most hobby stores here in the U.S. Citadel has always kind of been my go-to. I think it's just because it's just the first one that I picked up, and I used it for a long time before I started like experimenting with other paint brands, and just nothing else ever, I guess, has felt right to me. So Mornfang Brown being one of my favorite colors of any paint brand. It's just one of my favorite browns. It's a very reddish brown. I really like it for leather straps. That's what I'm going to use to paint the tunic and the gloves. Other than that, I hope everybody is enjoying their Monday. Hopefully everybody had good work days. They're having good work weeks coming up. Doing anything exciting during the week? Love to hear about that in the chat. Gonna find some time this week to go watch the Ninja Turtle movie in theaters. If you don't know, the original Ninja Turtle movie from 1990 is out in theaters this week for the 35th anniversary of the movie. We have a few theaters here showing it, and it is easily one of my favorite movies of all time, and just one of those things that is mandatory that I attend. So I'm not sure what day. I might go, maybe it's either going to be Wednesday or Thursday. It won't be tomorrow. I'm not sure if it's still in theaters by Friday, but I guess it was this weekend. I missed it this weekend. Just had a lot of other stuff going on. Went to a concert on Saturday night, which was a lot of fun. And yesterday we just had so much yard work. I'm not too sure what to do about the pants, to be honest. I don't want to use too many browns, you know what I mean? Like, I've already got these two browns. The undershirt is going to be green to match. All my woodland creatures have all got some sort of this OD green, olive color, field, I think it's called field gray, but it's like an OD green color. So kind of sticking with that nature theme a little bit for all these critters of the Volark. Getting brown on the sleeves, and that's why I didn't do the sleeves first, because I had a feeling that was gonna happen. It's kind of a awkward mini to paint on camera, because you want the camera as close to the table as possible, but when you stand it up on the thing, and the see how my finger goes there. And man, I'm trying to keep the brightness down. For some reason, the exposure, sorry. It has an automatic exposure, so when I get too much light in there, it changes, the coolness changes, so I have to be cognizant of that. Otherwise, it'll, like, the colors will kind of look a little strange to you. They aren't that way IRL. He also has this pauldron on his shoulder. Not too sure what I want to do about that. I don't feel like it would be metal of any kind. I feel like it would be leather, but again, I'm painting this as a tunic, as a leather tunic. So I have to make another decision with that pauldron. I Probably should have painted this tunic first, it looks like. I'm trying really hard not to get any of this on anything else. Sorry, Kayne, you might get some leather on your face. You may need a makeover here in a minute. No way, I did not get any on there. That's pretty wild, huh? I don't really super care too much about, like, from the waist below. I mean, I'm gonna paint it, but you're not really gonna be able to see it very well unless you know, really stare at it, which, I mean, I guess people do. when you paint something and they like to look at it, they do stare at it, right? I've also noticed that I've gotten some of this brown on the like on the metal, on the walker, and that's actually okay. Like you can see, I got some like here. And that's okay, because we can use that as weathering later on. I'm not going to worry about that. Yeah, I really don't know what to do with these pants. I guess I'll paint these as boots right here. Pretend like he's wearing like knee-high boots. Okay, that's cool. I'm cool with that. That looks good to me. All right. So now that we've got that leather bit, now we're gonna do the green, or this color is called field gray, but it's green. And this is a scale 75, so this is different from the other two, obviously. This paint, at least for me, where I live, again in the US, isn't easy to get. So this I actually had to order from the UK. I ordered a big kit of it. I'm not a giant fan, but I do like to use all different kinds of stuff and show off different things. I like this color. I just don't like the this paint type necessarily. To me, it always feels a little oily. It does have a matte finish, which is nice, which works really well on like cloth, like we're gonna paint right now. This is actually a lot lighter than I thought it was gonna be. This might We might need to switch this one up, actually. This is painting out to be a lot more like a minty green. I don't hate it, but it definitely is not gonna matchy with my other stuff. So it must not have been this one that I used. I kind of like how this looks though. It's definitely a lot more minty. I don't know. We'll see. I also don't know what to do with that pauldron. I can also paint it green, I guess, and see how it looks. I'm actually really surprised at how well this is going on. Like how, like I said, typically I'm not a big giant fan of this brand, but this particular coat is going on very nicely. That might be the main reason why I'm not minding the colors being as minty as it is. I don't know what to do with that pauldron. I think I might paint it like, I don't know, bronze maybe? Well, that's him all painted up in those 3 different colors. I think he looks pretty fire. Although, let's try and put a little bit of that Warren Fang brown over here. thin in some spots. Which it's okay because I'm a, I personally find using shades to be very fun. Wash as shades. Actually, you know what? This doesn't... I'm going to paint this whole thing his pants. I'm not really too sure why I didn't do that to begin with. And I think I just put some of that brown in the green, man. Sorry. I promise this is not my first time painting. I just may have done the colors in the wrong order. That's okay. Like, I'm getting stuff all over now, the metal. But we're gonna do some weathering, so. Alright, cool. Alright, let me grab some bronze. Now we're gonna go into a fourth brand of paint. Which is Pro Acryl. Very similarly to Scale 75, I had to order my Pro Acryls from the UK. I think the only reason that I did that, though, is because it was, like, cheaper. I think maybe Pro Acryls you can get. I have seen both Scale 75 and Pro Acryl in stores, just not nearly as frequently. So this is Pro Acryl Bronze. That's what we're using here. Pro Acryl has a couple of my favorite metallics to include this bronze. I use this on a lot of miniatures. And I've got a couple places that I want to use it. First, I am going to try and see what it looks like if I make it his pauldron. Let's see. I don't know if I love it or not. I'll have to let it manifest. I'm gonna also use this. I want to try and make this little grill here look like a face. So I'm gonna paint this part in this color. And I'm also going to paint these covers. I should move this way a little bit, huh? Since I'm tending to put my arm over here. These look like eyebrows. Or eyelids, I guess. I don't know if there's any other parts here I wanna want to do some of these gear things here in the back too. Let's see what else. I think I'm gonna do the pistons back here. A lot of this will be covered up in weathering, so it won't feel like it's I don't know what I'm trying to say. I was thinking about maybe painting every single one of these little bolts this color too. Or rivets or whatever you want to refer to these as. Let's see what that looks like. It'd just be cool to give it like these little accent pieces here. Might be hard to see the dots because of the glare, but basically all these little rivets here is what I'm putting that on. Painting silver under a bright light is doesn't like to show very well on camera. Do I paint that? No. I'm gonna paint the gear. Making sure I got all the rivets and I didn't miss any, because that would drive me crazy. I'm deliberately not doing the ones around the face. Alright, what's next? I save the flames for last. I think now I go ahead and put a wash on Kayne. And then we can start working on the exhaust pipes. So, a wash is, for lack of a better explanation, a watered down paint that you use to put over an existing paint job, I guess. It kind of puts a light stain on the flat surfaces and then fills in the crevices with the darker parts of the stain. Just think of it as like stain. You're like staining the miniature. The stain flows into the recesses, and so your recesses are darker than everywhere else. That's essentially the premise behind a wash. I keep calling it a shade because Citadel calls their washes shades, but a wash is what you know, what we're talking about here. I just use a big brush. Sucks up a lot of the wash, so it makes, I guess, spreading it out a little easier. And you're just pretty liberal with this stuff most of the time, or at least I am. And I'm going to put this all over Kayne. So all over his fur. This is a brown wash. This is Agrax Earthshade from Citadel. Army Painter also makes nice washes. I don't know if they call theirs inks or not. They might call theirs washes. Citadel's the brand that likes to give everything its own name so it can copyright everything, but a lot of the other brands don't do that. So how much of this you put on is totally up to you. I tend to be pretty heavy with my washes, which sometimes bites me in the butt because my paint jobs end up being darker, I guess. And then you just kind of look around and see if there's any like massive pooling where you don't want it to be. And if there is, you just clean off your brush, dry it off, and then you can just kind of like touch it and suck up any of the excess wash where you don't want it to be super pooly. Cool. Cool. Alright. We'll let that dry. While that dries, we're going to start working on the exhaust pipes. So I have a little trick that I've learned. And I by no means copyright this trick. This is just something that I've pieced together through various hours and hours and hours of watching YouTube videos of other people paint stuff. But if you don't have access to these tools or these colors that we're going to use, that's okay. The most important one is this one here. shade. This is Seraphim Sepia, I guess. It's like an orangey brown, I guess. And what I use this for is to kind of tint the exhaust down to where I think the heat would, I guess, start to make char marks on the pipes. So I'm going to go down to about, oh man, it might go down all the way, honestly. And all I'm doing is tinting. And at first, it's not going to look like I'm even doing anything. And they don't have to be even. You want it to be darker up top and lighter down at the bottom, so you kind of want to lightly start at the bottom and then push up. Because your exhaust pipe, like the char marks on your exhaust pipe, are going to be darkest at the tip of the exhaust. That's what we're doing, is we're trying to give the exhaust more color, I guess. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm not going as far down. I'm kind of sticking up towards the top. I don't know if you can kind of see that tinting here. You've got nothing here, and then it's kind of getting a little lighter up there. Or a little darker, sorry. Once you get that color the way you like it, I'm gonna do the machine gun too. This one might be a little more challenging. If you don't have these washes or these shades, this is just the way that I do it. You could, of course, water down. I'm gonna grab some. Sorry, I'm gonna grab some blue wash now, because there's also washes, like colored washes from Army Painter as well. So now this would be the next color, and we're not going to go down as far. We're actually going to stay up a lot more towards the top. And we're going to try and make it kind of blendy. And you'll find as you're doing this, if you have these particular colors, that as you start to combine this blue wash with that, orangey brown wash, that metal pipe starts to actually look like an exhaust. Because it gives the effect that this pipe was once very hot. Can you see that? Does it look, can you see now, kind of tell how, at least how I'm looking on the camera, it looks like you can kind of see what I'm doing here. the gun doesn't look nearly as good as the exhaust pipes there. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the next color, which is probably our last color here, and this is the also another wash. This is their purple. So it's 3. If you only have like the blue and the like I said, this one's the most important. This is going to give you that, you know, worn color on the pipes, I guess. So this is the most important. The blue just kind of adds to it. The purple is totally unnecessary. You could keep using the blue. And this is just for the tippy tops. Like I said, the flames will be last, so I don't care if stuff gets on them. So I'm just kind of making a ring of this purple around the... be very like dark with it on this. Alright, so hopefully that's coming across, like those are exhaust pipes that are hot. That's the effect I'm going for, anyway. Alright, now I'm gonna go one last time back to the blue. And then I'm going to... Yeah, don't do the blue. That second coat of blue was unnecessary. I didn't need to do that. Alright, well that's the effect. That's what I was going for. It makes it look like the pipes, you know, here's where we started, was with this brighter silver, and then it just gets progressively like grimier and exhaust heat, I guess. Although this one got kind of messed up. That's okay. It's not supposed to be perfect, right? It's supposed to look grimy and gross. Alright. Alright, so now I think that we can start weathering the metal, I think. Although, I might want to you know what, let's go back to some of our earlier colors from Kayne and brighten up some of these. Some of these things here. Some of these colors, now that the wash is dry. that song comes on, I'm immediately reminded of Willy Wonka for some reason. I don't know why, it just like pops in my head. So this is the Mournfang Brown. Just kind of bringing some of the color back to life from the dried wash. Cool, cool. Looks good, looks good. I don't think I'm gonna mess with his fur. Just kind of brightening up some of this. Alright. Let's start working on the weathering. Because this is the big part of what I wanted to show you. First, supplies that we're gonna need. So we're gonna need some sponge. Sponge or foam. I have foam. This is just a foam insert from something. I don't know where I got this from. I'm sure I have other foam. This is just the thing that's closest to me. Also gonna get some paper towels. Probably gonna need a lot of these. Okay. And then you have to decide what paint you're gonna use. Now I want to go for like a dirty rust color. So I'm gonna start with a blackish base, something dark. I think a great color for like rust and dirt and stuff is this Citadel's Rhinox Hide. It's like a burnt umber type color, I guess. music died. So this is going to be like your base, right? And then you're going to build brighter colors over it because rust, you know, like you could probably go with this brownish color too. So you could probably start here and then jump there and then go to like an orange, like a scrag brown. So something like this is what this trifecta of colors here is going to give you a nice dirty rust. So this is what we're gonna use. So we'll start with this base here, this Rhinox, and let me also preface this with whether there is no wrong or right or wrong way of weathering. You can always add weathering. Most of the time, you can't take weathering off. So unless you know for sure that you definitely want everything to be very heavily weathered, you want to start light and build from there because you don't want to overdo it. And then, you know, no takebacks. So take a little bit of that foam. You can kind of do whatever you want to it. I think I'm just going to use like a corner like this, like a dabbing corner. And we're going to do kind of similar to what you would do with dry brushing, as far as like getting stuff off of the, like, you know, with dry brushing, you try and get it off your brush. This time we're going to get it off of the sponge. So I think, let's see. Try it on your mini with no paint. See how, like, what tips you want to use. What part of the, I think right there is probably how I'm going to want it to be. This portion here. So I'm going to tap that lightly onto my paint. I got some there. And you see this, like the specks. Now I don't have many specks. There we go. Hey, like that. That's what you want to get on the mini. Think about where there would be rust, you know, on the edges of things. So I'm trying to get it heavily on like the edges. That's where things would, just think in real life, how would your rust build? You could get some on your pipes if you want. You start to see the grime starting to, the dirt and stuff starting to build up, like on the edges. Grab some more of that paint. It's going to be grimier. Like inside the crevices too. On the bolts on the outside. See the speckles and stuff on there. So that's what we're building up, and we're gonna try and be a little heavier with the darker layers and then lighter with the lighter layers, so that those lighter layers really pop on top of the darker spots. And that'll start to make sense once we get to like the lighter colors. Like I said, you can always add more. It's harder to take away than it is to add. So when it comes to weathering, it's easy to get impatient, because sometimes if you want it to look right, you know, and you want to build the layers up, it's easy to get impatient and just, you know, want to slap on the early layers to get to the later stages, because that's when it starts to get fun. So people usually just slap this on really quick and they're like, oh no, you know, too much weathering. And again, I mean, it's subjective, right? So how much is too much is that's up to you. Okay, we've dirtied that up quite a bit. So I'm gonna put this away for now. And I'm gonna grab my Mornfang Brown. I could just use the stuff that's on the palette, but that would make too much sense. So I'm gonna use the same little dollop of sponge here. I'm gonna go around all the way around all those spots that I did the dark, but I'm gonna try and just not do as much of this. In some spots, I might get heavier in others, you know. It's also okay to put some of this in spots that there isn't any of the others. Especially, like I said, especially like on corners and edges, that's where a lot of your rust would build up. I'm gonna grab my Scrag Brown, which is, this is Deathclaw Brown. Okay, this will work too. Where's my little... This is the one that you want to be, just drop that, You want to be the lightest with this, but you can see like that. That's the weathering that we're building out, and then you can see the. I'm gonna move this out of the way. I think that'll be helpful. Won't get as much. There we go. Look at that. There would be a lot of grime and build up underneath there too, but I don't know about all that. All right, we're gonna chill on the weathering for now. That's kind of the effect that we've got so far. We may come back to that because I have a lot of other like tools, and I say tools as in like paints and tech paints and sponges and brushes and all that stuff. But for now, I actually really dig that. So let's work on the rest of Kayne here. Let's grab some of this minty green, aka field green, because it's not the color at all that I thought it was, but that's all right. We're making it work. We're making it work. Put a little bit of that on the palette. That was the scale 75 field gray here. He's so cute. pretty happy with the way he looks, honestly. I do need to do something with the fur. I just am really not too sure what I want to do with it yet. So let's work on the flames, huh? Okay. I need white. I'm looking for white. I'll use Althuan Gray. It's this here from Citadel. That's what we're starting with. We have to paint over the black. There's a couple of different ways that you can do fire. Well, more than a couple, probably. There's tons. Not too sure which kind I'm gonna do yet. You can do it with washes, like I did the exhaust pipes. You can obviously do it with paint. I'm trying not to get white paint on any of the exhaust now. So that's why I'm not really saying much, just because come on. Alright. So white is obviously the hottest. It's the hottest fire, so we go up from there. We'll go with the yellow. I'm going to use this Uriel yellow. My elbow's killing me. I'm having a lot of elbow issues lately. Not that everybody needs to hear me complain about my elbow, but holy moly, it hurts. It hurts, guys. I want to leave some of that white underneath. Not a lot. Man, that white is... I need to turn my... It's so bright, like, no matter what. It'll get darker, I promise. The darker the colors. Alright, now we're gonna go to orange, y'all. Go into Troll Slayer Orange. I'm honestly not even washing my brushes or anything. I'm just going right into the next color. Now red. I'll go Mephiston red. It's not going to be a lot of this. then black. I'm really just like light on the edges with the black. Gosh, I'm sorry about the lighting, y'all. Probably a little bit too much white. I probably need to darken that up. But you know what we can do? I know something we can do to give that a lot of color. I'm looking for it. Here it is. Found it. Soft tone, actually, from Army Painter. This will look real nice on the fire. It's like a brown, like a brownish red, I guess, wash. Should put some... After this little touch-up, I think we are done. I think he's about as good as he's going to get on this stream. We'll have to let this dry and then come back and attack the base later. I'm pretty happy with the weathering. Once it all fully dries and sets, I may decide to go back and add a bit more, but we'll see. There you go. There's your fire. Look at that. Now you can see it. I just needed to add some depth to it. And then, of course, we have our nice weathering on the pipes there. And then we have some rust weathering all around it. And then, of course, the little man himself up top. All right. Anyway, so this was Imperator Kayne, brand new for Heroscape from Renegade. Man, I love this game so much. I haven't painted anything else really since this game has come out. It's just been I literally have to clear another shelf from my, you can't see it, it's over there, my shelf with all of my miniatures in it that I've painted. I have to clear off another shelf because I'm starting my third shelf of Heroscape minis from Renegade. Man, look how cute he is. Look how cool that is. So yeah, just if you haven't played this game, please play it. If you don't own it, please own it. Paint it. It's so much fun. Thank you, as always, to Renegade for having me on these streams. thank you to you guys for watching, whether you're watching here with me now live or catching me on demand. Yeah, so I look forward to seeing you guys soon, whenever my next stream is. Thank you, as always, Renegade, for having me on these. You guys could choose literally anyone in the world, and you choose me, and I appreciate that. What else I got? Nothing. That's it. I'm out of here. Make sure that you take care of yourself, take care of each other, play your games, paint your miniatures.